which in turn increases the contribution rates for the participant local governments. And since payroll is almost always their biggest expense, every time that rate goes up, it impacts them financially, of course. And usually it's fairly significant. I mean, over the next 5 years, that the contribution rate's probably going to come close to doubling if they continue with the lowering the rate the way they're going. Right now, that's not really disclosed anywhere in the financial statements directly. I mean, it's kind of in the pension note, I guess, kind of, sort of. But it's something that's out of their control, too. I mean, they belong to the pension plan, and quite honestly, a lot of them still don't understand why they even have to record that liability on their financial statements. But, they make their deposits every month. They think they're doing what they're supposed to, which they are. I mean, they are doing exactly what they're supposed to. But anyway, like I said, I don't know where that fits in, if at all.
Change in estimate.
Okay.
I mean, some people, you could argue that's a subsequent event even under the current requirements, but definitely a change in estimate, because even though somebody else calculates, it would be like if the federal government changed a law that related to landfill closures, that would have an impact on the liability in the future, and the way that the way that the requirement is structured, it would have an impact. So it would fall into that category.
Okay. So I guess that would be another one that could have some impact. We're usually pretty informed about that because it's housed right here in our department, and so we know when the rates are going to go up. But every year, every time that happens, there's rumblings about what are we going to do with the retirement plan, and are we going to switch to a defined contribution plan? I don't think there's that much chance of all of that happening, but.
It's interesting. I mean, it brings up this is going a bit off piste here, so, which I've been known to do, but by focusing these disclosures on risk, and one of the questions now is how much is government's, recognizing that your department, your division, that's what you do for a living. But as far as the actual governments themselves, how much do they focus on risk from a financial statement perspective? And they're saying, okay, well, this is going to impact this asset, this is going to impact this liability, and therefore it's going to have an effect on my ability to repay debt or provide services. Do they spend any time?
I would think it depends on which government you're talking about.
Right. The larger governments, you would anticipate that. The smaller governments?
I don't think, for the most part, things like that cross their mind when it comes to financial reporting.
Okay.
Now, I think, in a lot of these communities, the commissioners and the staff are very acutely aware of the fact that they have one big water sewer customer or, one or two big taxpayers, and that what could happen if they went out of business. But I don't know that they ever make that connection to the financial reports. To be honest, most of them don't understand their financial reports.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Is another topic for another day.
Yes. Yeah. I'll make sure I have my bulletproof vest on for that conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Back to you.
So our final question for you, Sharon, is what other feedback, if any, would you like to share with the GASB related to risks and uncertainties disclosures?
As much as I don't want to add to the notes, I think it would be a very helpful disclosure. project to start adding that in. Maybe there's some other ones we could get rid of. I don't know, but for people that do pay attention to the financial reports, I think it would be helpful to have that information included. It would certainly be helpful to us. And I would think to lenders in particular also.
Okay, that's great. Well, I want to thank you, since we're still on a recording, I want to thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. It's a very important part of our process, and I'm looking forward to getting all of this feedback from all the users and giving it back to the board. So we really appreciate your time. Mike, I think let's stop the recording because I think that Dave and